Moment of silence. Who do we have for the Pledge of
Mr.
Allegiance?
Sean Harris, he's our new media
Sean
production
Harris.
specialist.
All right. Moment of silence. Who do we have for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sean Harris, he's our new media production.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
One of us, who cares?
Second by Linda was on that.
Oh,
I'm still waiting.
you can just say yes. Yes for me. It wants me to log back in.
Okay.
Yes.
I got your vote, Mr. Stein.
Oh, there we go.
Very good vote.
I was, did 2 minutes ago.
So that is the summary of current events.
Once I get past the other, I'll switch on the trouble.
All right, summary of current events, Superintendent Spurgeon.
Thank you, Chairman Ramirez. Have quite a number of things that I want to go over tonight. So the first thing is kind of some events that have happened since last time we met. We had our Citadel of Praise annual Martin Luther King Scholarship Breakfast once again for the third year. And that program over the last 3 years has donated the vast majority of its funding to West-MEC. And over the last 3 years, $15,750 have been used to assist 103 West-MEC students to attend 16 separate programs. So that's been fantastic for them, paying fees and those kinds of things for them to attend. Was able to provide West-MEC update and overview for the Credit Union West leadership team and had a great conversation with those folks there. Was able to do a West-MEC update and overview for the CTE Symposium mini conference in Georgetown ISD in Texas for a group of individuals. And the greatest takeaway there was I opened their eyes to new possibilities and innovation and options. And they recognized clearly that they were probably underutilizing some of their CTE spaces. So that they took away some very great ideas and some good conversation with them. Was able to provide a leadership presentation to the year 2, or what do you expect in year 2 for the Grand Canyon brand new Arizona superintendents. Had a great conversation with them about 2 weeks ago. And then just this morning, I had the privilege to work with Scott Holman and Deb Furlong with a Arizona Capital Times morning scoop. It was all around workforce development and economic growth. And so it was a great conversation for a webinar this morning. For tours, we had a group from Hermosillo, Mexico back in for a second time to tour our Southwest campus, Central campus, and our Northeast campus, gaining new ideas and taking pictures of all the equipment and where we get our equipment from and the processes and procedures for attracting teachers and developing teachers and instructors. They have a brand new facility there that's getting ready to open its doors in August. They want to make sure they have everything in place to get their school off and running. We did our groundbreaking ceremony at the Agua Fria Academy on January 27th. Thank you for all those who were able to make it. And then exciting, Nestle USA had their ground opening ceremony. We got a chance to meet one of their top level executives from Switzerland. And she promised me when she came back, she was going to tour some of our facilities at West-MEC. So it was a great grand opening. We have a tremendous partnership with them, looking to fill some of those entry-level technician needs for the bottling industry. So very excited about that. As I mentioned last month, Denver Public Schools now is on the calendar to come and visit West-MEC April 7th and April 8th, looking to facilitate some new CT programming and facilities for them. West-MEC was invited to the Agua Fria School District Academy's designation ceremony, where West-MEC was recognized and received the Committed Partner Award for our work in collaboration with Agua Fria. So very excited about that. We had our Top Golf fundraiser for the West-MEC Alliance. It had a huge turnout there, and all that money again is used towards helping and assisting students to access West-MEC programming. So very excited about that. And then, Dan, can you pull my first slide up on the screen there? We'll recognize some board members here this evening, and again, why not recognize? I mean, the recognition is recognition. So Great American Title Agency, congratulations, Frank Straka, being one of the top agents in Arizona for 2024. Top 8% in the state of Arizona, 12 transactions for total sales of $4.64 million. So Mr. Straka, congratulations on your continued great work.
Speech.
Just keep going. And then I want to recognize board member Robert Garcia. You know, Mr. Garcia splits time between West-MEC and his other daytime job at ADE, but just want to tell him how much we appreciated his extremely well-received presentation at our Midwinters Conference up in Prescott. Did a very, very nice job of really detailing some of the economic growth and the companies that are coming into Arizona. And his work has just been stellar around work-based learning, and his process of moving that forward for the state of Arizona to put it in a place where it's strategic, and it's efficient, and it's really aligned with all the work that's going in our CTE. So just want to say thank you and congratulations for a job well done at the Midwinters Conference. Appreciate it. Then other two I want to recognize is Mr. Molina and Ms. Boosum. And most people don't know this, but you are spending a great deal of time working behind the scenes, advocating for CTE and for West-MEC and for a potential bond issue with your legislative districts and all your community members. And just want to say that that's being recognized. I really appreciate all that hard work that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
So thank you. And before I share some really interesting data from the Arizona Commerce Authority, just want to make sure that you know it's been a 2-year process, and I'll graduate with my national superintendent certification on March the 5th. And I've completed my project, my video project, and at some point in time, I'd like to show that to you. It's all around career literacy 2.0. So on March the 5th at the national conference, I'll be recognized for my national superintendent certification. So very excited about that. So let me share with you, the Arizona Commerce Authority probably does one of the best jobs at really sharing the latest and greatest economic growth and workforce development data. So let me just give you some statistics. The city of the state of Arizona is up to 7.5 million people, and we're now the 5th largest city, Maricopa County. Phoenix is the 5th largest city in America, which we're continuing to grow. Here's some stats. We are #1 in the most competitive state in the mountain region as of now. We are we're #1 county for attracting and retaining talent, Maricopa County. We're the #1 fastest growing county in America right now. We are the #1 best city for entrepreneurs. We have 5 what are called unicorn projects that are in the pipeline. And that means a unicorn means it's $1 billion or more project in the pipeline coming to the Maricopa County. Over 50 startups are relocating to Maricopa County, and they've invested over $500 million in Arizona startups. There's some other statistics right here. Skip the page. Maricopa County is #1 in the United States for semiconductors. We're #1 for large market for manufacturing announcements since 2020. We're #1 in the largest optics and photonics manufacturing job growth in America. #1 concentration for guided missile and space vehicle manufacturing. Top 2 in the largest medical equipment, pharmaceuticals, and chemical manufacturing job growth. #2, data center in the market. Top 3, state for highest finance industry concentration. Top 4, state technology innovation industry deployment. Top 5, aerospace and defense leader, and a top 5 state for the highest technology and innovation in the manufacturing industry concentration. So whether you recognize it or not, it's time for all of us to come together and do this thing for Arizona, because not often do opportunities like this come along where the perfect storm has happened for Arizona. That's why CTE and the collaboration with community and all of our partners is so extremely important. So we're all pulling on the same rope, in the same direction, to ensure that the workforce is developed, to ensure that we meet the economic and workforce needs for all of this industry. So thanks to the ACA for the great piece of information, and thanks to all the board members for all your work. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bridget. Okay, moving on to the governing board. So see if anyone have any updates, starting with Mr. Steins? Have any updates you'd like to share with? Oh, sorry, got you at a bad moment.
program out of Thunderbird High School. You know, I was impressed our tax dollars are doing well. It's a nice facility.
Mhm.
They had coffee and donuts.
It's a better experience.
There.
For growth.
I was very impressed.
Thank you. Mr. Molina?
I had the opportunity to participate in the TQI at Liberty High School, Total Quality Initiative in their CTED programs. And I came away pretty impressed with what's going on in their CTED programs. Not only from the standpoint of the quality of the instruction, the response of the students, what they seem to be coming out with. And one of the things that took me by surprise, that I didn't think was happening anymore, was they actually had a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. And I thought that had gone by the wayside, and I'm happy to say that it's still there. So that was enlightening. But again, I think they could do a lot more if we could solve the transportation problem. I think that's still an issue for them, and I think if it's an issue for Liberty, it's an issue for all the high schools that are participating in the West-MEC programs in one form or fashion. And I think that's in my thinking, that is probably the big hurdle that we face, is figuring out a way to get the kids to the training programs that aren't resident in there. And of course, I think a lot of the training programs that are not resident at their high schools are the big ticket items, if you will. The advanced manufacturing, the welding, some of those high-end technical fields that will be the higher income level positions that these students are ready to take on if they only had the means to get to the education. So anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Transportation is huge. Well, okay, let's see here. On January 22nd, I went, was Zoom meeting. I attended the electrical advisory board meeting, or advisory meeting. But that had to be rescheduled because we're having technical difficulties. But I'm looking forward to it because we're gonna be looking at a curriculum change, hopefully with Canyon State Electric. And they seem to be the standard, and since they're huge with us, that just makes sense. And then let's see here. On the 23rd, I attended the West-MEC Health Committee meeting with Mr. Molina here and Kathy. So that was pretty cool. And then on the 27th, I also attended the groundbreaking ceremony. And then on the 11th, which was yesterday, I attended the TQI at Cactus High School. And so I toured the culinary facility, the automotive facility. And the kids were working on an EV car that they built, and I never seen so many wires in my cell. I would tear my hair out. But they were working on it and they were having fun. It's just weird to see somebody working on a car not being under the hood and dirty. And then I also toured the construction and the childcare. But the culinary, they were cooking lunch and stuff like that for all the people that were there for TQI, and they were having a ball, but it just seemed like it was a little bit overcrowded. And then yesterday we both attended the bond overview. So that was interesting. It was fun.
Thank
They
you.
were cooking chocolate chip scones at Thunderbird High School when I was there. I kept asking the kids, I said, how do they taste? Well, they said, well, we don't know. I said, well, don't you dip your finger in there to take it? I don't think they'll invite me back too soon. I don't know.
it's funny because I brought my little Tucker with me. And we went to the the culinary, says, the kids were going, oh, they want to come over, but you can't touch, you're making food. But yeah.
I was there too early. They weren't ready yet.
Okay,
Well, I
that's fine.
contacted the teacher, Matt, over at the Power Sports program at Northwest. After I talked to my son and his son about bringing a couple of his trophy trucks over to the school. And so my son finally called Matt and set it up, and they had a yard for him to park the trailers there. So he brought 2 trophy trucks and the chase truck, and I don't know if you know about off-road racing, he does the Baja 1000. And you're driving down and not on a road, it's all off-road. And you break down, you hope your pit crew is someplace close to you. That's the chase truck that's got all of the tools on it. But my son has always carried a lot of his own tools, and he does his own fixing of the truck when it breaks down. So he had both of these trucks there, and he was letting the kids get in the trucks, and get out of the trucks, and talking to him. And Matt says to me, he needs to come over here and teach. Of course, my son loves talking about this race. He does have a race this Friday if anybody wants to go to Primm, Nevada. So that was on the 24th that he brought those to the campus, and he stayed for both classes. So the kids really loved it. And then I dropped my car off at the Northeast campus to get all the scratches taken out of it.
Oh, really? They did
Yes,
that?
on the
I
27th.
need an appointment.
So I dropped my truck off there, and the next day I went back to the Northwest campus for mock interviews that they were having. And then I stayed for the advisory committee meeting, which was after the mock interviews, which was just great. And then I picked up my car on Thursday over at Northeast, and it's all free of scratches at the moment.
I need a ride.
And then I went and got a facial too.
Oh, God.
Man.
You leave all the scratches. Yeah.
So it was a good week.
Be retired.
Yeah, thanks, that's fine.
I'm good, I don't have anything.
No, it's good, yeah, no, okay. Just a few things, I also went to the groundbreaking at Awafia, it's great to see. Exciting, first time taking a picture with a shovel.
Yeah, we're vertical now.
Yeah.
We got walls going up, so we're
Yeah,
vertical for the
yeah,
first
went
time.
Fast.
Wow.
I got to attend the fundraiser also for West-MEC Foundation, and also went to the Trust Alliance. They had like a workshop, or I wanna call it CLEs, but it's a very, very insightful information, especially information on security and policy. Wrote a bunch of notes. I forgot to bring them with me, but I'd like to share some of that stuff that I learned, that weekend. And what else did I have on here? No, and that was it. All right. Thank you.
With all the tours that our superintendent is doing, I think we need a tour department.
Oh, yeah.
within schools.
You gotta do what you gotta
Keep
do.
leaving in about a couple of weeks. Moving on to call the public.
None.
Do we have anyone? No one? Okay. I have to call that 3 times, right?
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
If they filled out the form, I would let you know that nobody was there.
Oh, okay. So no call, okay, no one for call of the public. All right, well. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. Boston Unit High School CTE program reports. Mr. George Moreno.
Good evening, Chairperson, Mr. Ramirez, board members, superintendent, Dr. Spurgeon. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is George Moreno. I'm the CTE director for Tolleson Union High School District. This is going into my second year It's been an honor. I had the first question come up to me earlier this week, and I was like, George, why are you a CTE teacher? And I shared with them that after graduation, you know, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I got fortunate, became an aviation technician. From an aviation technician, went into networking, worked a little bit at Home Depot, did a lot of different skills, and finally I found teaching, and I found CTE. And I realized that what a big impact we could make on students to save them time and money, making sure that they have a career pathway, especially now that everything's so expensive. And that's my passion as a CTE director. I work under Dr. Rosalba Laguna. She's our executive director of OLAS, Mr. Juan Ceja, our deputy superintendent. And we collaborate and always looking for the best opportunities and experience. Our mission at Tolleson is we cultivate the future success of all students and staff so they can enrich our community. When I think of this, I think of the support and the partnership that we have with West-MEC. With that, we're always able to provide opportunities for our students to participate in our CTSOs, provide our teachers with professional development, make sure we have the equipment in our classrooms, and making sure that we have those partnerships and relationships with our industries to provide a clear pathway for our students. Our vision is empowering a student-centered community of learners to be the leaders of tomorrow. Today, you're going to hear from our students, a few of our students who are ready to take that path, become leaders, take on their responsibilities because of the amazing instructors that they have. I want to go over our support team. I always feel it's important to understand that it takes a team to move the needle. We have a short video, that way you guys can get some insight of what it looks like at Tolleson and the different programs we have. Some highlights, there's some key points that we want to share with you guys that we're working on, always looking for improvement to elevate. Relationships, excellence, and pride. We always say that we rep. I share that with our teachers that we want to rep. It's short for us saying represent, making sure we're taking pride in our community, our schools, and our districts. And then just share some real world applications that we have. And so recognition, Mr. Filetio, he's our CTE coordinator. Marlena Rose, CTE administrative assistant. Natalie Garcia, CTE support analyst, and Belen Cabrera, CTE student support analyst. I want to make sure that I talked a little bit about our goal too, along with our partnership, to making sure that we always think about students who graduate, where they're going to go, whether it's direct employment, trade school, colleges, and university. We want to make sure we have pathways for all. The video of the 18, not all 18 programs, but give you some good insight of what we're offering. Recognition, we have 57 amazing teachers, all passionate, majority of them are from industry, and they're all looking to elevate our students. As you saw in the video, we have over 18 CTE programs that we're looking to always provide the best resources, which means supplies, equipment, experiences. We have advisory twice a year. The next one we have is on March 27th. We'll be having it at West Point High School. We start at 6, we have a dinner. From the dinner, we have students share about the programs at that school. Then we go into breakout sessions to hear from industry partners, our community members, and collaborate. Working on partnerships. Right now, we have a partnership with State Farm where students from our culinary programs go there, get that experience of being in the industry. Banner, we're still working with them for MA students, our engineering students. But internally, we have our communications team that's very supportive. I wish I could take credit for that video, but it was a collaboration of working with our communications team. Our IT team takes a couple of our students to provide guidance. And then all within our district, we also work with feeder schools to provide. An example of that is our early childhood students go out to our partners' schools and provide some lessons for their students. We cover all CTSOs, the future FBLA, the Skills USA, HOSA, FCCLA, and we also have a Marine Corps JROTC programs at 2 of our campuses. Equipment that we're working on, we have poster makers. We recently invested in our welding program. We have plasma cutters, new welders, tables, working on lists for our automotive. You'll hear from our chef, you know, he just received a remodeled kitchen last year, and simulators. And, you know, I attribute that a lot to the support that we get from our superintendent, Mr. Kayes, our directors, our principals, and our teachers for sharing that vision and wanting to our students. But these things are possible because of you guys, and I want to make sure I share that over and over tonight. Thank you. We increased program offerings at La Jolla. We have a new graphic design program for those students. At Tolleson, we have the coding, law and public safety, engineering, digital photo, and digital communication. Well, that was great to see the increase in CTE program offerings. And then business operations through our distance learning academy. Thank you to West-MEC. We had 269 students participate in the CTSO officer training and all of our different programs I mentioned earlier. We provided 55 fingerprint clearance cards to students. I bring that up because we do offer plenty certifications, and this is a new one that we're offering. This could be a challenge for some students after they graduate, preventing them from getting a job, but having that fingerprinting clearance is one less obstacle that they have to reach. Field trips, we're attending advisory training for our teachers. We're going to the leadership camps. We're going to regionals competitions, state competitions, and we're looking forward to qualifying for nationals. This past fall, we had 113 attendees for our fall advisory. We always want to see, you know, more and more, so we're looking to elevate that. We had the most internships this year. We had 118 students participating over sports med, medical assisting, culinary, business, marketing, engineering, digital photo. Industry partners that we're looking, we had this great event in August called Commitment Day, where we brought industry partners, got them to work with our seniors and share with them, you know, the different opportunities that were available. And I want to share that we have over 534 purchase orders, whether it was capital, supplies, professional development, because working with 56 teachers and all their requests could be a lot. Before we move on to the ambassadors, I want to take this time and recognize our teachers for doing an amazing job. I have 3 amazing teachers with me tonight. I have Miss Fergus Crane. She's our early childhood teacher and our fashion design teacher. I have Mr. Beltran, he's our culinary teacher at Tolleson High School. And I have Mr. Sisson, who's our law and public safety at Copper. I had many more teachers who want to present, but I was told to keep this down to an hour. So let's do our best. So at this time, I'd like to call Miss Fergus and Mariana up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Like Mr. Moreno said, I am Ashley Fergus Crane. I teach fashion merchandising and operations and early childhood education. I also do internship and I am an FCCLA advisor for both fashion and early childhood. I would like to introduce you to my phenomenal student, Mariana Sanchez, who would like to share about our program.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As stated before, I am Mariana Sanchez. I am currently a junior at Westview High School who participates in the early childhood program. This is my second year in FCCLA, and I just want to say on behalf of Westview Early Childhood Program and as well as FCCLA, I am very honored to be here tonight to speak to you about our program. I would like to start off by saying that in Westview, in our early childhood program, we do a lot of hands-on working, not just with first year students where they learn about the developments, the physical, the social, the emotional, and as well as the mental development that goes through children. But they also work hands-on with projects their first year in FCCLA, so they get to compete in a lot of different things. And in our second year, our students actually get an internship over at Garden Lakes, which is just across the street from us, where they work hands-on with children from all different grades, essentially a sort of a TA for teachers. And so they assist the kids in their homework and technical issues, or they just supervise them essentially. And I would like to say that with FCCLA, I've learned a lot of good skills that I would like to use throughout my career in the future. And so I was able to foster a lot of good leadership skills, public speaking skills, communication skills, as well as collaborational skills that I use today and I use as well in sports and other extracurricular activities that I have. Not only that, but with the help of Miss Fergus, I've actually had a lot of outlets such as today, for example. This is something brand new for me, but again, I'm very honored to be here to be sharing about this program. Not only that, but I also had a district board meeting not too long ago. And as well as just representing FCCLA overall, I was in a promotional video for the Tolleson district where I showcased the early childhood program, and it just meant a lot to be here. So thank you for that.
Okay. Next, we have Chef Beltran and Emilia Delgado Peña.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity, of, allowing me to be here and speak. I hope you'll all be patient with me. I got some very exciting college news 20 minutes before getting here. So if I'm a little out of sorts, I hope you'll be understanding. I'm a senior, which if you do the math means I was one of the unfortunate souls to be dumped into high school, right after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And my path through the CTE program was a bit of an unconventional one in that I wasn't really sure what I was getting myself into. But being a culinary arts student has meant so much more to me than just cooking. I've learned throughout all of our trials, when we started, when I was a freshman, we had 2 working stoves, we had 2 working burners. And now, with our generous renovation, we've been able to expand our program so much. I've been so honored to see our program go to accommodate so many students, to accommodate so many services. Just yesterday, we served over 50 first responders at our relief service at the T-Town Cafe, giving them free coffee, free pastries made by the students that same day. It's been really awesome being able to see just how far we've heard and how far we've come. My apologies, I'm a little. It's a little surreal being a senior and just standing here and just thinking back how far we've gone from the beginning of the program. My sophomore year, we had barely any students. It was essentially just a full officer team +2. And now we have over 100 students coming at any given event, serving in the cafe, doing teacher meals. In our kitchen, doing banquet services, doing community service events outside of campus catering for Phoenix City police chiefs. I truly feel honored to have been a part of this program. Culinary aside, because it's all well and fun to talk about the achievements that we've done, it looks very impressive on social media, but in the actual student experience itself, I've been able to develop more define what I want to do with my life in terms of post-secondary education. Not only in the culinary sphere, we were doing cost estimates, you know, Beltran knows I love doing those PR forms. Doing spreadsheets, managerial work has informed my choice of being a business management major post-secondary. I lost my train of thought, I'm so sorry.
So just to kind of play off of what Emily's saying is like, these kids have more possibilities, not just in the culinary, but like their leadership skills get developed. Taking ownership, the event that was thrown yesterday was thrown by two of our culinary students that literally put it together. We had the news there, channel 3 came in the morning, interviewed two of our students, talking about the pastries that they made, all the equipment that we're using at our cafe. I mean, it's phenomenal to be able to have the resources, because like she said, when I first started in 2019, we literally had like a couple stoves working, our ovens were constantly breaking. Our kitchen was very small. So with the renovation, it allowed us to expand all these different things. And like Emily said, you know, we were able to do our first off-premise catering this year. We were able to now offer dual enrollment for Strayer Community College dual enrollment. So we currently have, I want to say like 25 students enrolled in that program. So we just keep growing and growing and growing, and it's just been phenomenal to be able to have the resources to grow and give these kids these opportunities and experiences.
And to add on to the college credit, I know our wonderful director mentioned, college has gotten so terribly expensive. We're very proud to be able to subsidize that cost with the profits we make from our catering services for some of our students.
Yeah, so what she meant by that is some of the students couldn't afford the dual enrollment credits, but by us being able to earn funds from our T-Town Cafe events, our FCCLA officers came together and said, hey, whoever cannot pay for the college credits, I believe it's $165 for the 3 credits per semester. They wanted to pay for those credits for those students to go ahead and have those credits for them. So they're gonna contribute over $1,200 this upcoming semester to pay for their college credits. It's great.
A big value of our club has always been giving back to our community, whether that's hosting, you know, culinary classes for our staff, or somewhat unconventionally in my project for FCCLA State, which I was able to go to Seattle for nationals last year in public policy advocacy for Proposition 139. This year, I've been working with Councilwoman Ana Hernandez and Senator Annalise Ortiz on housing affordability. So culinary to me has been a ride. One heck of a ride, but one that has opened so many doors for me.
Do you want to tell us your news, your
Yeah.
college news? I mean, you got me anxious. I'm dying to hear it now.
Let's sit on the edge of our seat.
I was expecting to get my early decision 2 email on the 15th, but 20 minutes from here, I got Vanderbilt University National Tennessee admission officer, my apologies, admission offer available on your portal at 4 p.m. tomorrow, so
Nice.
we'll find out.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
She's been waiting for this for forever. That's all she talks about every single day. She goes to class. She's
Very
cool when she got here, and I was like, well, it's gonna be more nervous, so. She's doing great.
I
so.
do. I am happy to say I've been also accepted to Barrett the Honors College at ASU and the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, Washington on the Purvis Scholarship of $29,000 a year.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Any other questions? Sorry. Any other questions? Well, if you guys notice there's a bicycle on some of your guys' tumblers, and it says Wolver Eats. So we actually just started the new service on campus where the students are delivering coffees during lunchtime on the bicycle. So they pack up in that little basket on the back, they put the drinks back there in a carrier and they drive around campus because our campus is so huge. So go from one end to the other end. They have this idea like, hey, how can we service our teachers that don't have time during lunch? So they basically put this program together. It's called Wolver Eats. And then they deliver coffees and pastries to the classrooms during lunch. So,
On the topic of that coffee service, I would also be remiss not to mention that we've received a gold standard charter for our student-run business at the T-Town Cafe. We've partnered with our DECA program and their sponsor, Mr. Moran, which has just been really exciting. Because now we have a lot more resources for the cafe and it's expanded competition opportunities for students on both chapters now that we're technically co-chartered.
Congratulations. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Next, we have Mr. Sisson from Copper Canyon and Melanie Mixo Romero.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Sisson. I am the Copper Canyon criminal justice and law and public safety teacher. This is my third year, and this is one of my upcoming students that is a very promising student in the field of criminal justice. I'm going to turn it over.
It's Melanie Mexia. I'm a sophomore student at Copper Canyon High School. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and speak for our club. Our club has grown a lot. I've been in this program for 2 years and it's just been growing more and more. We have a lot of opening opportunities and we have the privilege to be working with La Jolla and have the opportunity to go to these team courts and the activities that we do is we go to team court and we give juveniles an opportunity for to restore their justice, and as well as we are doing a competition with the other schools in our district to compete in a crime scene. And
So what is La Jolla again? Is that?
So La Jolla High School.
Okay, okay.
So we participate in what a program through Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, specifically called Teen Court with the probation unit. The juveniles that are involved in various types of crimes are permitted to do restorative justice, of which high schoolers that are part of a criminal justice program get to kind of deliberate as a jury, ask questions, and then actually decide consequences associated with whatever crimes the individual did commit. Melanie here is a fantastic part of that program that we get to share with La Jolla. Additionally, some of the other things that she was mentioning, some activities that we have coming up is the Skills USA competition, where they're going to be doing a forensics competition. Specifically, one of the things that they're getting to do right now is process crime scenes, which Melanie got to process yesterday. And just a lot of great opportunities that are coming forward. One of the things that she actually hasn't gotten to be aware of that I'm going to share is one of the simulators that Mr. Moreno mentioned that we're going to be getting thanks to all of you is going to be coming to our program. It's a decision-making simulator. So it allows individuals and students to see kind of how officers react, why they make the decisions that they do, and kind of give them the realistic feel of an actual field related something.
So on that simulator, is that the one where it shocks you if you get?
No, unfortunately, I mean, if you would like to, and Ms. Moreno, I think you volunteered. No, in this case, I was told it's frowned upon to electrocute students. But if you'd like to volunteer, sir.
Yeah.
It is not that that level of simulator, however, it does allow us to discharge a firearm, a simulated firearm. And neutralize a potential threat or make the decision to not neutralize a threat. It's a video program with real life actors and you can record scenarios and all that stuff. Very awesome equipment. I'm prior law enforcement. It's actually the same equipment the Phoenix Police Department uses currently, which is fantastic.
I've actually used it before too. When that comes, I'd be interested to be invited to come out there and see.
You are always welcome on our campus, sir. Anybody is. I try to always coordinate all of my lab activities with Mr. Moreno. Anytime I'm performing any kind of lab or you'd like to come in and just watch my class, please feel free. I hope Miss Melanie here would agree. We try to have a lot of fun in my class and we try to make it really real and relevant. Thank you. Any questions for Miss Melanie?
Yeah, I have a question for Melanie. When you did the forensics study, was it a forensic study? Did you have any aha moments or any surprises? Or you're like, oh, wow, this is cool. Anything?
yes, first time I got to participate in this, there was just a lot of things I wasn't expecting. And it was really fun overall to get the chance to experience it.
Are you thinking of following a path into maybe law enforcement, detective, or anything like that?
I'm not sure yet, but I do wanna pursue in criminology.
Oh, okay.
And one of the other things that we're gonna be developing our program into to help help her get into her desired field is working obviously along side West-MEC. Trying to really push a lot of students into the paralegal program that is offered, as well as our corresponding law and public safety program as well. And then additionally, we're working on internship programs to work alongside of Glendale Police Department, Phoenix Police Department, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, probation, and Maricopa County Attorney's Office for them to do shadows and casework.
Great. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you, thank you.
That's a tough act to follow right there. Just wanna start, like, I hope it was noticeable, the relationships, the positive relationships we're building with students, the passion our teachers have to continue to elevate their programs, and the pride that we're taking in each one of those. So in conclusion, just support, I want to support everyone. It takes a village. I talked about teachers, principals, talked about thanking you guys here at West-MEC, Dr. Spurges. I didn't mention earlier, that was a transplant. I was with Pima JTEC for 12 years and been here for a year and a half, and it's been so welcoming. There's a lot of people in this audience I'd like to thank. They know who they are. Marilyn, Sir Guy, Ms. Rodriguez, if I miss anyone, Ms. Lauren, Shelley, Lauren, thank you guys for being so welcoming and, always wanting to support, and not just Charleston High School, but us, and making sure that we're being successful. But even within our own district, it takes everybody, our travel, we do so much travel, we're always thanking our travel department, our IT department, our facilities, and especially our business office. Our goal is to continue, I always tell my teachers that, we're gonna take some L's every now and then, but we wanna win. We wanna win for our students and make the biggest difference possible. And CT ambassadors, all our CT ambassadors, thank them for being here. Most importantly is the passion, the drive, the commitment to continue to provide opportunities and experience for our students. Thank you, guys. Yes, sir.
I have a question. It's more of an idea than anything else. So we have the JROTC program. Are you familiar with helping students get into the academies? So they're senior or juniors, they should be preparing for, if they're gonna pursue a military career, to go to the military academy rather than being a 12th grader going to basic, go the officer route. The academies or the JROTCs with our local universities.
Yes, I appreciate that recommendation, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with our JRTC instructors, and I could reach out to them and see if that's the
Yeah,
route
be
we're
very
taking.
good. Those come with a free ride and 4-year college degree. So once you accomplish that, you get selected. If you go to Annapolis or West Point, you complete a bachelor's degree, 4 years, and you owe military service after that. So just an idea. So I know the applications are usually turned in the first quarter of their senior year. And then they get reviewed throughout the year, and then they get noticed around April.
They
Appreciate that.
recommended by congressional members.
That's all part of the package. It's a huge, that's why it would take some mentoring on how to do the packet, because it's not easy whatsoever. But we don't do so well in Arizona in terms of our population in comparison to California, Texas, Washington. These other states that do so much better. Our population is usually small, and a lot of our allocations go to other states because we don't have enough qualified applicants.
And just stress that.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Traditions and celebrations. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Guy and Mr. Swarnick.
President Ramirez, governing board, thank you. Sorry to disappoint, but it's only me, not Mr. Guy. But it is a great pleasure and honor to announce our West-MEC February Employee of the Month from the Northeast Campus, and that's Miss Monica Hook. So we're very, very proud. I'll stick to the script and I'm doing you a favor there, but Monica is one of two awesome school counselors we have on our campus, and it's indeed quite an honor because we can select many from our Northeast campus. We're very blessed. Monica served West-MEC and the Northeast campus at a high level for 9 years. She's facilitated program and enrollment growth as our highly sought after campus counselor. For the longest time, the only campus counselor, school counselor we had. Monica prioritizes student learning, student growth. She cares about student health and student welfare. The door is always open to anyone. Staff and students flock to her office consistently. You'll never see an empty office in there. Monica's there. They discuss important matters. They just bounce things off each other, and they get great advice. Honest advice, transparent advice, but the truth. You're going to get the truth from Monica. For our staff, Monica is often the first go-to person that they'll certainly seek out. And if you've spent time with me, you can understand perhaps why that's the situation. Student concerns and parent issues, grade book, technology challenges, whatever it is, Monica's there. And we absolutely appreciate her. Teacher mental health sessions, talking people down is so critical. And it's so important to the health of our entire staff, and Monica is such an important cog with that. She's become more than just a colleague to me. She's become a friend. I absolutely appreciate it. We talk about school stuff, but usually I drag her down some rabbit holes and we talk about some other stuff as well. Really important stuff, and I appreciate her wisdom and her patience with me. She cares about individuals. She cares about kids. She makes it seem like this is part of the job, but it's above and beyond. This was a no-brainer selection. We appreciate Ms. Hook. She remains a blessing to our entire West-MEC and Northeast campus family. Monica, thank you. Absolutely appreciate you. Because of you, we're proud to be NEC. And then on a little bit of a side note, Monica hates this right now. Her level of hate is directly related to my level of pleasure. She's been dreading this for a while, yes. And every time she bring it up, I smile and giggle because I was enjoying it. I did. I'm hoping you will participate with me. That you will keep her up here a little longer than she's.
It's usually a traditional 60-minute presentation.
Thank you very much. We're glad to borrow some of their time as well. But I did, you'll keep her up here and ask her a lot of questions, and you'll notice she'll sway. She sways.
You're allowed to slap at any time.
Yes. That means she's more uncomfortable, so. And I'm just gonna be sitting here. They enjoy the entire experience.
I was gonna say something nice about him, but.
Yeah, this.
Got it.
On the internet, so if you want to publish a cell phone, that would be.
They broadcast on it.
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the recognition, David. Thank you for your really kind words. I don't know that I'm the most deserving person from the Northeast campus for this, but at the risk of sounding trite, I really enjoy my job, and I'm so grateful that I get to do it at the Northeast campus because everything he said about the campus is true. We have great teachers and the best students. And
not sure that I want to say this, but truly the most phenomenal administrators that I've ever worked with. And I've worked with some excellent administrators, but David Swarnick and Kristen Casillas are truly in a league of their own. It's easy to do your job well when you have leaders of their caliber. So thank you so much. I really appreciate this recognition and opportunity.
How many years you been?
This is my 9th year.
That's wow.
There's more here. There's more here, wait, run on.
You mentioned that he was in a league of his own. That doesn't, you didn't say he was great. You just said he's in a league of his own.
Minor leagues.
Absolutely, yes.
He and Kristen are incredible. They are incredible. I'm so lucky to learn from them every day and to have their support, everyone on our campus. If you were to talk to anybody from our campus, they would all say the same thing.
So which program sends you the most problems?
Gosh,
Several.
I really don't think there is one. I mean, when I say we have the best students, like, I mean, I just we have the best students. Like, it's so easy to be a school counselor when your students are as great as ours are, so.
Oh, you love what you do.
That's good to hear you.
Well, you must be overpaid then.
Yeah.
No, let's don't go there.
Never.
Remember that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Not that much is getting. You don't have to pay that much, do we? Their second favorite thing to do is take photos. I know very well.
You wanna get in front of me? You're better.
Somebody should.
Oh,
You get up there.
I'll try to balance this off. Since I'm probably the most unbalanced person here. All right. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, Monica.
Thanks.
Go ahead. No. You good? You need your plugins? Still got it. Oh, you get the phone done. No.
And we're not that I will have to.
Yeah. Okay, revision to policies, okay. Next item, revision to policies pursuant to the trust model policy recommendations, first reading, Ms. Kathy Mays.
Board. The Arizona Risk Retention Trust, in their review of our policies, is recommending a formatting policy change to policy 1301, rules of order. It is a formatting change, nothing substantive to the policy itself. And those changes were submitted to you and they were bulleted in red.
I do have one question because the way I interpret it, it seems like it's a significant change. Last year we had a vote on something and there was an abstention. It was a 3-3 tie with an abstention. And legal told us it passes, but if I look at bullet point 7, it says an abstention does not count as a vote for the purpose of determining if a motion passed. That would mean that a 3-3 tie with an abstention, it would fail. So that is a significant change. Am I correct?
That is correct. But when I meant significant change, I just meant to the policy that it was when it was drafted and voted upon originally. However, it is up for discussion as you see fit.
So this was a change when we adopted this policy then, because before an abstention counted as a yes vote
A change to the prior policy or to this policy?
to the prior policy.
Right, prior policy. So yes, you are correct. It was a change when the trust made these policies. However, there was no change from the trust policy. Yes.
I guess that's what my question is, because am I remembering that correctly? There was a 3-3 tie on. It was on the,
And I think that took place prior to the.
prior to the trust, it was on the ESI, it was a 3-3 tie, and there was one abstention, and so we,
Cox calculated a no, the abstention as a no vote because
so now
other states
that's how it works in other
calculate that,
states.
but Arizona does not. That's why it's
Is this a
included.
conflict with state law?
No, that's why it's in our policy because an abstention does not count as a vote.
I just, thank you. I just want to get that clarified.
Just some clarification, so if it's a tie vote at that point, then the motion fails, right? Somebody has to bring in a new motion at that point.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
But an abstention counts as a no.
No, an
No,
abstention
it
counts
doesn't
as
count
no
at
vote.
all. It's not
I
counted.
thought that's what she said.
No,
No.
it counts as a no. It does not count as a vote.
Yeah, it's not a vote.
Yes, but before it counted as a yes.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Is there a reason things went from uppercase in to lowercase?
Again, it was just a formatting change recommendation. I don't think that there was a reason behind it other than formatting.
Because I guess the way I would interpret it and just help me. When I see rules of order capitalized, I automatically assume Robert's Rules of Order, but if I see rules of order not capitalized, it just means rules of order not referring to Roberts. So do we no longer refer to Robert's Rules of Order?
It seems like they are Robert's Rules of Order. But that if that is the board's recommendation. we
Could you
certainly-
just clarify that whether that's correct or not? I just want to know what we're approving.
Yeah, because it just seems more informal. Where,
So on number 4, when it talks about, the president can end the meeting without a motion to adjourn, is that where he would just walk off? And then we're all supposed to know that it's done, or?
You would just bang the gavel and say the motion, the meeting is adjourned.
And out? Okay.
yeah,
And that probably should say
To
chairman.
maintain order.
Oh, I did see it, one of the school boards do that recently. Yeah, and
If
the
it's
president
required to
walked out.
maintain order.
Okay,
yeah, I don't think you can just walk off.
no, it's got it.
It's gonna be a formal ending to the meeting, so, okay. Next item, are we there yet? Okay, motion to approve consent agenda, items F1 through F8.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Ms.
A motion
Bosso?
made by Edward Molina, seconded by Linda Bosom.
I didn't log out this time.
Motion carries.
I have a question on that before we move on, just for future reference and training. If we want to post something from the consent agenda, you do that before you call the motion?
At this motion, you can motion to discuss it separately. And then from the back end, I can sit there and change it so that it won't take your motion to approve the consent agenda, and we can go right into voting on those separately and discussing those separately. So you would just say, I would like to pull item F1 for discussion and separate action, and
Okay.
then we can go ahead and do that there
That's before you call for, you get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
at that time. So somebody would motion to approve consent agenda with the exclusion of F1, take that as a separate action.
Gotcha, okay.
What you could
Okay.
do before we get there is to say before we move to the consent agenda, is there anything any board members would like to have separate discussion on? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve it or something.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. All right, moving on to section G, action discussion. Consideration for approval of a guaranteed maximum price contract for Southeast Campus. Oh. Mr.
Good evening,
Eden.
Chairman Ramirez, members of the board, and Superintendent Spurgeon. On October 9th, the Governing Board approved GMP 1 for the Southeast Campus project. Tonight, we are recommending approval for GMP 2, and we have the team from DLR and Chase here with us to present to you regarding that.
Chairman, members of the board, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. It's an honor to be here and I'm super excited to be a part of this project. My name is Brody Haskins and I'm with Chase Building Team. We're going to be the general contractor for the Southeast Campus. We have some slides that we want to share, but before we jump into the slides, I want to highlight for the board 4 highlights that took place during design and pre-construction. And if I could share those with you now, I'd like to do that. So trade partner interest. We had a ton of trade partner interest on your project. The feedback that we got from the trade partners is that they want to be associated with this project because of the impact it's going to have on students' lives, positive impact it's going to have on the community, and the direct impact it's going to have on the industry workforce. We saw over 30% more interest in your project than any project that we had worked on last year. There's over 36 projects that we worked on. That's number 1. Number 2 is we received over 120 qualified competitive bids from some of the industry's top tier trade partners in the Valley. That leads me to my third highlight, the competitive bid process. So working in collaboration with the West-MEC construction team and the design team DLR, which was great to work with, and exercising the competitive bid process, we were able to reduce costs on your project. Almost $3 million, $2.9 million. Wow. And as a result, we're under budget where we had previously predicted. Yay. My 4th and final highlight I want to share with the group is that our team was forward thinking. We put together a GMP for early procurement to lock in pricing and get the process started for your team. So your project is in a much better position now than other projects in a similar stage. Those are the highlights. So let's jump into the slides. We have some slides we want to share with you. There's some renderings, a site logistics plan, the schedule that we have, and then as Matt mentioned, we're requesting approval for GMP 2. So we're looking at the entry. This is the south elevation of the building. Beautiful canopy. Next slide. This is the site plan. So you can see the master plan is on the left, fully built out. On this first phase, we'll be doing a slide on the right, portion of the south parking lot and the north parking lot, and then the center section, the main building. Next slide. Again, the entry canopy shows the beautiful finishes that DLR put together, the glass, the high lid, the dovetail canopy. It's a beautiful building. As you walk into your facility, it's really gonna feel wonderful.
We'll step in real quick. We did make the modification to the right glass versus the little flap that you mentioned. So that's been modified and changed.
This is an elevation of the southeast corner of the building. You can see again, we have metal panel, CMU, and again, the high steel entry canopy. Next slide. This is a shot of the advanced manufacturing. Next slide. Another shot of advanced manufacturing. Next slide. This is the shot of the welding area. There'll be 24 welding booths in here. Next slide. This is a QR code if there's any interest. Anybody that's in the audience or any member on the board, if you snapped a picture of this with your phone, it will take you on a 3D virtual tour through the building. And we plan on having this at the groundbreaking ceremony as well. Next slide. Or if you'd like to, we can hold for a moment.
Hang on. I'm slow.
No problem.
I'm old. Old and slow, back out.
It's also on page 8 for the presentation.
This is a slide of our schedule. We anticipate starting in March. It's a 15-month duration, and we would finish early part of July of 2026. Next slide. Tonight, as Matt mentioned, we're requesting approval for GMP 2 for 31,421,250. Next slide. This is a picture of the overall site. The green box that you're seeing on the left-hand side, that's the gathering area for the groundbreaking location. We are showing parking along the street We are showing where we'll have two advertisement trailers, one for West-MEC, one for Chase. Here, the 101. Next slide. Oops, one back, one more. This slide, we're looking at again, the site, we're looking at a plan view. It shows the job site entrance, where we'll have our material lay down, the construction fence around the property. And on the lower right-hand side, you'll see the advertisements. We've been working with your team for your advertisement on the semi-trailer. Next slide. This is our invitation to the groundbreaking. You may already have seen this in your packet, but we'd like to invite you all to the groundbreaking ceremony on February 25th at 10 a.m. We'll have a light breakfast. We'll have, as I mentioned, the virtual tour. And it'll be an exciting time and love to see everybody there. Next slide. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Something in the beginning, bids, when you very first started, you said you had got 126.
Well, over 120 competitive bids, so as a general contractor, when we solicit bids, we have a select group of trade partners that are fully vetted and qualified. We look at their EMR rating, their safety record, we look at their financial qualifications, and we look at their backlog work that they have in place and can they man the job appropriately. So we have a specific group of trade partners that we go out to, and not every trade partner has capacity for a project, but what we saw on your project is that they pushed other jobs away and they went for your project. It was incredible.
Why? Be the normal response.
I think because your project is providing a boost to the workforce and the skill sets that you guys are certifying for are gonna directly benefit our industry.
So they were just excited about it.
They're excited, just like we're excited. They're excited.
What is the EMR rating?
It's their modified rating that insurance companies track for any injuries that take place on a construction site. So if you have an injury on a construction site, your rating goes up. So it's very desirable to have a low rating.
Mr. Chairman, technical question. My son talked about putting in a bid on one of these projects. He currently resides with me. Do I need to declare a conflict of interest?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in a conflict of interest.
Another question, thanks for answering that. I had that same question too. Another one is, just on the design, are we gonna have the West-MEC name and logo facing the freeway also?
There is a monument sign.
There's the one.
In the final project, when it's completed, the entire 101 will be laced with that faster way forward in West-MEC.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, cause I think I saw it on the side facing east, facing 91st Town. I was wondering if it was also on the other side. Okay.
And they're doing that now, because some things are about aesthetics, so there's certain
Yeah.
aesthetics that have to be a part of the Algodon property area. I'm calling 101 when West-MEC is up there, I'm calling it eye candy corridor.
Yeah.
You got us and you got the Bio Resorts, you got Westgate, that's Chick Farm Stadium. I can't.
You don't wanna waste that. That's money.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
Thank
It's
you.
been great to work with.
Thank you. I'd like to say that the entire team, both the West-MEC team and the design team, DLR has just been amazing to work with, and it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you.
Thank you. Awesome job.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the GMP #2 with construction.
I'm motion.
Oh, Mr. Garcia,
A motion.
and then Mr. Molina seconds.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Garcia.
The motion made by Robert Garcia, seconded by Edward Molina.
Yes.
Can't vote.
Did log in?
No, you
Logged out
done,
again.
it's the contractor. I guess it would just abstain.
Do I abstain or just no vote? Okay.
Like deja vu all over again here.
Consider
Members
it-
members of the board, Superintendent Spurgeon. This is regarding the Agua Fria Trades Academy project. So also on October 9th, governing board approved GMP 1 for that project. Tonight, GCON and SPS Plus will be doing a presentation and we will be recommending the approval of the GMP 2 for this project.
Good evening. We're really happy to be here. I'm Morgan Ellig. I'm with SPS Plus Architects.
Brianna Conradson with GCON.
So this program, this is really unique on many levels. The fact that this is a prototype that West-MEC is going to do as a reaching out to implement this on campuses instead of having standalone campuses. This will address a lot of travel issue that was discussed earlier. So we're really excited about that. And we had to get creative with the solutions on how to do this in a tight time frame. Basically, from June of this past year until August of this year, go through design, permitting, and construction. So we went through a couple adventures, found creative ways to do that, and this is where we've come to. Does this allow me to advance? Okay. So look at the site. We'll go through the individual buildings and then we'll talk about budget and schedule. So I'm sure most of you are familiar. You've actually been on site for the groundbreaking. Got to see the location. Doesn't look anything like that anymore. You saw that it was just purely dirt and they were started, well, except for part of that diesel building in the back corner. Since then, GCON's been going to town, getting foundation in, starting to put rebar up. Hopefully we'll be going very vertical, very good. It's vertical. Okay, haven't been out there in a week. So the basic site, when it's completed, significant amount of parking. We've got our trademark roundabout there, right by the admin building. You enter on the existing drive of Agua Fria campus. And then for both deliveries and for fire access, we have a service road around the back. And then we have the admin building that's on the south end, which is planned left. And then the HVAC electrical building. Then the diesel building, and then down in the corner is the welding building. So this is an overview of the campus when complete. Doesn't have all the landscaping in there, we just have the trees, we don't have the little guys shown. But this really gives you an overview of the campus. I'm excited for when it's done to be able to view this from the visitor stands at the Agua Fria High School football field, because it's gonna present nicely from there. So when you first arrive on site, this is the admin building that you'll see as you approach. You enter into the lobby. There's definitely, we're big on the West-MEC signage, a lot of graphics, pulling things that we've seen at several of your other campuses. In the background there, you'll see a conference room. So if there's trade partners coming to visit or going to tour the campus, they can spend some time in there. We move through into the student commons, which is one of the gateways into the campus. They can either go through a gate with card access or they can travel through the lobby and through the student commons. First building they'll find is the mechanical electrical. And then this is really a typical classroom. This is what the 4 classrooms will look like across the 4 programs. And then a view of the HVAC lab. We spent a lot of time working with West-MEC and with GCON to fine tune all the equipment and get it to make sure that it fits properly, that we have the access around everything, and that these programs will function properly. Then we have a view of the electrical lab. Really excited about the object in the middle. The idea is that this will be built by the Agua Fria students in, I don't know if it's the construction CTE, but they're gonna build that, and then through the electrical program, they'll wire it.
So I have one slide for me real quick.
Yes.
So for example, we had trouble filling the HVAC program when it was on Northeast campus because it's such a long drive for the students of interest. Well, we have overwhelming response for our Agua Fria campus. It's well over 70+ kids and we don't even have enough room for them now. So it's really, we gotta get the right programs and the right geographic region to fill those programs up. And again, being in close proximity to where the transportation is not an issue, we'll be guaranteed to fill our programs up every year.
Can we expand while we're at it?
Eat back to the original screen, the site plan. So one of the things that's exciting, there's still an opportunity for us. We're keeping this spot open right here for an additional program at some point in time that we may include in the bond issue projects. So there's still a spot there, maybe another program or two at that academy. And this academy model really will be the foundation for what we do in our other spots for the bond issue projects to get our campuses closer in proximity to where the students are, try to eliminate as much of that barrier of transportation as possible. Because the closer we are, the more equitable it becomes in access to our programs.
Yeah. Then through that, we found the district has been so excited and so helpful. They've actually helped us through a lot of challenges we've had with the city through legal issues. And then also the city's been incredibly helpful. So we've seen both the district and the city are excited to have this happen. So we're hoping. Avondale.
Absolutely, sir.
They've been
Incredible.
great. They've been really great.
And I like that our students are building, they're
Yes.
helping to build it. That's great.
So, the electrical lab. We'll go on into the diesel lab. So this, we did a slight departure from the other labs to where, since we have diesel in there and the amount of stuff that comes from diesel, we wanted to darken up the ceiling so that it didn't immediately show up as dirty. So it was just an accident. This will be a lot cleaner. I mean, if you've been in any of the programs in West-MEC, you know how clean the facilities are. So we didn't want this to show up as a dirty spot.
Again, hard to fill opportunity, and now way too many, our applications are out of balance.
That just blows me away. You know, it's not even built yet.
And then because the building is set, or the campus in a sense is set so far back, it's past 2 baseball fields from Dysart Road. We have an opportunity to put some signage out near the street, but the welding building is close to the perimeter with nothing but grass for, I think it's over 1,000 feet, but we wanted to make that a billboard from Dysart, so.
Okay, so as Matt had stated last October, we presented to you GMP 1 for 10 million. So today we're here to present to you the balance of construction for 12.9 million. And then just to kind of give you a high level, here's our milestone schedule. As you can see, the GMP 2 price tag is where we're at today. We are fully mobilized on site. As Dr. Spurgeon had stated, we are stem walls are in the ground. We are starting to go vertical, and we are on track to have students in their seats this August of 2025.
Nice.
So again, thank you to SPS Plus, Dr. Spurgeon, West-MEC. Marcy, Matt Heath has been great. City of Avondale has been amazing to work with, and as well as Agua Fria School District. So thank you for this opportunity. We're extremely.
A lot of work's been going on. Great job.
I have to take a ride.
Yours,
Yeah.
absolutely.
A lot of partnerships. It's been good.
Good.
We're gonna take a ride out there.
Yeah, congratulations. All right.
Great job.
Can I have a motion to approve the GMP number 2 with construction for Agua Fria? Okay, second, okay. Ms. Bosom moved and Evelina seconded.
Can I just ask a clarification question? Again, were there a lot of bids from subcontractors?
Yes, we had a lot of people that were interested. And same thing as Chase, we have a qualification process. We check their EMR ratings as well. A lot of vendors that want to partner with West-MEC and be a part of this.
He has to be on the agenda item.
So I don't know what my son bid on, but I'm gonna declare a conflict of interest because I don't know if it was this one, the last one, or both of them.
Okay, send on this one too then. Okay. Does your son have his own company?
No, but he was doing bids for the paving.
Oh. That's not bad.
He's been there 2 years and He's now the something, product manager. He's doing all the bidding. He does a lot of work at Sky Harbor.
So it's his own company? It's his own company?
No, he works for another company, but apparently there's a big problem with Sky Harbor. People try to run off the top of the parking garage to commit suicide. And they break the big concrete wall, and they've replaced it a few times.
Why is that?
Thought that was a problem. A routine problem.
Did everybody get the pop-up? Did you get the pop-up?
We don't have a big bridge. So.
I just,
Just give me a verbal yes or no.
you're not very creative. Anyway, just kind of interesting.
Yeah, you know what? I already got your vote, but I didn't.
Should I be opposite and just say no for that company?
Mr. Frauke, did you vote?
Yeah, I thought I abstained.
You abstained? Okay, yes, I see.
Yeah. I know my son did some bids on some of this, but I don't know what, where. And I'd rather be safe than sorry. Last thing, the Auditor General comes back and gives us no grief. Sure. And he has the same name as me, so it wouldn't.
Here's Marcio Rodriguez, recommendation to approve intergovernmental agreement for development and lease of property between West-MEC and City of Peoria.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Ramirez and members of the board, Dr. Spurgeon. So we're excited about this opportunity and this partnership as well. So the City of Peoria owns a vacant parcel. It's approximately 14 acres. So it kind of fits that small campus closer to the high school's model that we are looking at because of the transportation barriers that some of our students experience. So this is along Peoria Avenue right off the 101. So again, making that 101, it's an easy, convenient way for people to get to our facilities, but it also showcases us, right? On a very busy, well-traveled highway. So we are asking the board tonight to enter into a lease. So, and the lease is to start developing the property, start talking about maybe what kind of programs. We've already obviously started talking about what kind of programs are going to service that community. We've looked at how many students are within 10 miles of that community. There's like 19 schools where 15,000 students could be served with this location. So it's very important for us to bring that community feel into West-MEC. So what we are asking tonight is to approve a lease with an IGA with the city. Anytime we enter any type of agreements with other municipalities, government agencies, we enter into an intergovernmental agreement. The City of Peoria is willing to lease us that property with the caveat that if we want to purchase it in the future, we can. And what our goal is when we pass the bond is to be able to purchase and build on that property, build our facility for the students. So I will entertain any questions, and then we do have a representative from the City of Peoria here with us this evening, who would be willing to answer anything you might have as well. The lease with option to buy. It is, yes, it's our intention.
Would it be at the current price or the price when we pull the trigger?
Well, right, there'll be an appraisal process. I mean, as any government agency, you have to make sure you're getting fair market value for the property. Would be much like if we were to sell any property, we'd have to get fair market value for it.
We got appraisal yet?
No, not yet, because we're bringing this to the board to approve before we move forward with any other discussion.
But we have a previous appraisal.
There was a previous appraisal on it, right? And it was 6 million.
And here's the thing about it is that we have the money to purchase this, but Marcy and I had a conversation about our 4 current projects. Until we got the final pricing on all those 4, we wanted to be safe than sorry. So we took a kind of a step back to say, how can we still get the property? Because we want to start working to develop it. So when the bond issue passes, we can hit the ground running. Because if we wait till then, it's 3, 4, 5 months down the road before we can start putting anything on the property. We want to try to get this done as quick as possible. So we said, let's lease it first and then purchase it once the bond issue passes.
Okay, so we still, all of our phase 2 on all of our projects, we're still waiting for the bond money to finish that, correct?
Exactly. Now, but we did have money available in it to purchase it, but I wanna be safe than sorry and keep the money in the bank for us to make sure we don't have any overruns, any overages, any big ticket items and come back. I'm always a safe player, so I want to keep the money in the bank. This is a way for us to secure. I mean, there are others that are interested in this property. We think it's an absolute gem of a piece of property, its location and the access to more than 15,000 students that could attend it within 8 or 10 miles of that campus.
It also would be a great healthcare location because it's the gateway to Sun City. And there's a bunch of healthcare facilities right there down Peoria.
And right next to a long-term care facility right now.
I'm just thinking that it'd be a lot easier for all the kids from Title I schools to be able to travel there, you know? So when would we start leasing? When would that start?
It'll be effective once this agreement is approved.
So tomorrow, if we approve it.
From March first. And I like that clean, date, but
How long is the lease for? Like if
It's up to.
up to 10 years.
up to 10 years?
Mhm.
And is it an escalation clause or a flat fee?
After the first 3 years, there's an escalation, but we'll probably own it before that happens.
Okay.
Ms. Boozum, just for the board's information, is once we're able to lease the land, we're able to secure an architect and begin planning for that property. So we're always staying ahead of the game. And my goal is to try to get our campuses out as quickly as possible so that every single year we've got new campuses or new opportunities for kids to come in because again, we've got thousands of kids that want to come to West-MEC that just can't get in the doors.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we approve the lease. And maybe we can continue discussion, but
Yeah, we're still in discussion.
Yeah.
well, you should have the motion first and then have discussion is technically what we're supposed to do.
Okay, so we got a motion. Is there a second? Then you can continue the discussion.
Anyone second? Okay, Mr. Molina,
No motion
Greg.
Mr. Trugay.
and seconded by Mr. Molina.
I have a question about anybody else had a question that was still unanswered?
Linda was still working on her question.
Okay.
So we're gonna lease this without knowing what numbers we're gonna end up with?
What do you mean, not by numbers? Student numbers or enrollments?
We're just leasing the ground in hopes that the appraisal price will fall in our purchase.
Well, we already had an appraisal, so we know it's about $6 million.
$6 million for the 14 acres.
So assume the commercial land goes up about 4% a year.
Mhm.
In 3 years, it go up about $750,000. Every year we wait, it costs $250,000.
And how many programs will we go into this campus?
Well, if you envision this as 14 acres, and that's roughly, Surprise is about 15 and Glendale is about 12. So somewhere between Surprise and Glendale Central Campus in terms of the footprint that you could put there to support that number of programs, so. Surprise
Some of the
has-
programs take up more space.
Some do.
Yeah,
Space.
yeah, but
The other,
somewhere in that range is where you're gonna wind up.
So probably the Agua
6 or
Fria
7.
campus will start out with 4 with a potential of 5 or 6 on 5 acres. So you gotta figure about 5 or 6 programs per 5 acres. So probably 12, 14 programs probably. You gotta have room for the parking lot as well, so it won't be a full total of 14.
yeah.
So it might be more around 12 or 13 acres because you'll have to have room for the parking lots.
Question on the 10-year, is there a reason why we selected 10 years if it takes a year to get the bond passed, assuming it passes, design, planning, purchase, as soon as we purchase, then we stop leasing. So why would we need 10 years then?
To give us the flexibility,
Mhm.
because we don't know what's gonna happen in the future, so we chose that 10 years. Just because if we went anything higher, we'd have to go out for voter approval to, lease a property, so.
So we'd have to
go out for voter approval too if it's over 10 years.
Yes, that's correct. So that's why we stayed 10 years under, but I mean, we could have put lesser years in there because we know we're gonna pass this bond and at this fall, but.
Minimum financial impact over the short period of time, we're hoping to pass a bond.
And all this growth took place, what they're trying to do. I don't think we need to worry about it.
And there is an option in this agreement
Mhm.
that we, if
when the bond, for some reason would not happen, then we could terminate this agreement.
Terminate the agreement.
Mhm.
So if it doesn't pass in November, will we go out for another bond in the following year?
Yeah, we would have to. We
So
have to.
then you'd want to still maybe leave that option open.
It also depends on how much money we bank. We might bank enough money to buy it outright from our M and O in a year or two. I mean, there's a lot of options that we could explore.
Yeah, come November, if for some reason the bond issue didn't pass, we still would have the money financial to purchase the property. So we have an option to either give it back or purchase it.
How are we gonna finish phase two? If we still need the bond to finish that?
We wouldn't be able to finish phase two of the Southeast campus without a bond issue passage. So there's certain things that we can't do, but certain things that we
So we
can.
would own the land, but we wouldn't be able to put a
We'll
building.
be able to build on it.
But it'd be, the land would be secured for future bond issues and future projects. And to me, land's one of the most difficult things to find right now.
Yeah.
Especially in close proximity to where we want to be able to access for kids.
If we also looked at, well, that's off topic. I'll wait another time.
Yeah, we
In fact, they had a conversation at the council meeting, which they approved last night, and they're very
I
anxious
mean,
to.
our land here, have we looked at liquidating our excess?
Yes, we have plans for all the board to see. I mean,
We own between here and American Family Warehouse up to the freeway.
Ms. Boosum asked the same question, so when we bring the bond issue projects, justifying the ask for the bond issue itself, you'll actually see all those items laid out, so, yes. We're excited about this one, aren't we, Marcy?
We are, we're
It's-
very excited.
Yeah, and the
to
city of
be-
Peoria has wanted one for quite some time, and their city council was very excited. And there's a lot of possibilities there, so, I mean, the city of Peoria really doesn't have anything at all. And they don't have a single option other than Northwest Campus on this side. In the city.
Decided by every building project.
No, there's gonna be kids that are gonna have opportunities that would not have
That would never
opportunities right now.
happen. Exactly, that's exactly right.
I mean, I
The other thing is the central campus is very specific with its very specific programs with, welding and CNC manufacturing, coding. And what's the other one there? It's aviation maintenance, so it's very limited by the four programs that are there. This is gonna provide a number of more opportunities for our students in that area.
Yeah, I'd like to see another hairstyling program in there too. Because that's one of the feedback that I got from, Glendale and Peoria. That a lot of their kids, those are the classes that they want to go to.
Another class that has come to my attention. and I've been asking about
Yeah, we're looking at that from the Northwest campus.
They have so many kids that want to go, but they can't travel to Surprise. So this would be great for them.
Yeah.
Barbara,
We're working on that.
Barbara mentioned Barbara.
School.
Somebody asked me about it the other day.
I'll shave it.
Does anyone have any more questions on the lease? For Marcy? No? Okay. Let's put it for a vote.
Thanks, Marcy.
Let's go ahead and walk back in.
You can get a verbal yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Mace, recommendations to approve staffing requests.
Harris. So thank you for supporting West-MEC's growth and approving the GMPs because that is gonna create such a phenomenal experience for our students. I can't wait to see what we do in the future. But we have to staff. So I'm here before you to talk about the positions that we'll need once we do open those campuses. So I am, or along with the administration, is recommending the instructor positions for the Agua Fria Academy, Career Academy, as well as the campus administrator that will take the lead on that campus, working at that campus. That campus administrator will also be the planning administrator for the Southeast campus. We're also recommending an administrative assistant for Agua Fria. The two positions over at the Northeast campus because of the bringing that facility online. And then because of the demand for our medical assisting and nursing program at the Northwest campus, we're recommending an instructor position there. And then two career service coaches, one at the Northwest campus and one at the Southwest campus. And those will be funded out of our grants. So I will take any questions that you have.
We were very blessed with the Haley Foundation grant because they cover the cost of our welding instructors and for the two career coaches that are coming in for next year. Wow. Which is nice. The other thing I want to mention, and it was kind of a creative idea. Typically what West-MEC has done with opening up new campuses, they've hired a planning principal the year before, let that person plan for the new building. To me, that's probably not a good use of our funds. It might be $160,000, $180,000. We put benefits and retirement all together. So we're doing something different now. So the person will be hired for the Southeast campus for the 26-27 school year, but they will open and operate the Agua Fria campus next year. And cost savings to the district. And then we will hire a new Agua Fria principal the following year. So it's a cost savings of $160,000, $180,000 that they've used previously in the past, because the person running Agua Fria will have time to attend meetings, planning meetings, and hire the staff for the Southeast campus.
So I have a couple of questions if no one else does. For the Agua Fria Academy, what students can go there? Is it
Any students?
So with our funding model, is this considered a central program or a central? So then it seems like for Agua Fria, it's an unfair advantage. How are we gonna adjust the funding model? Because this is literally on a high school. And we're now going to give them funding as if it's a central program where other districts are having to transport students miles away. And so how are we gonna make this more equitable for the other districts? Because you put, let's say 300 students here, we break up that funding model, you give Agua Fria an extra 300, that dilutes the pot, and someone like Peoria is gonna be penalized, they'll get less per student because Agua Fria has something on their campus.
They also get the same funding factor, so everybody that attends any of our central campuses still gets a 0.75. It's still.
Right, but on the money that we give back at the end of the year, it's based on their participation in the central program.
Central in their satellite programs.
But also the central program. There's a factor that we added in the model that the more you have in the central program, it favors your reimbursement on the.
Well, yes, you are correct, it does, but I will tell you, when we're looking at applications, there is a lot of students applying for the Agua Fria Academy that does not go to the Agua Fria School District. So we are getting just as many kids from the area as Agua Fria. I hear what you're saying, Mr. Straka, but there's opportunities for all students and other districts as well. Their students will be attending, so they'll also get that share.
And then my other.
That's news to me. I'll have to look at that.
When we were having trouble getting people to participate in the central programs, that's what we did to incent them, and all of a sudden, some districts participated more, others didn't. So my other question would be, this is a smaller campus. I have Northeast campus, I have Southeast campus. Those campus administrators have a lot more responsibility. are we gonna pay them the same? It's like an elementary principal versus a high school principal. Should we have two different scales?
That's a great question, and we did discuss that. The position, the number of things that they have to supervise may be fewer, but the actual job description and their expectations are the same. The other thing is that we gotta keep in mind that they're gonna be planning almost 2 campuses. They're gonna be working at the Agua Fria campus and planning for a very, very large campus. So I think that also covers some of that, change in what some of our other campus administrators are doing.
So when you hire the follow-on administrator for Agua Fria, would that be at a lower salary?
Not necessarily. I mean, we do have campuses in West-MEC that have lower numbers of students, and those administrators are compensated differently. Because they're compensated based on their skill set, their education, and the work that they do.
But what would happen, because it would be a lateral move then, if I hire someone from the academy and they get promoted to one of the bigger Southwest campus, say, that would be a lateral move. They would not have a pay increase, even though the responsibility would go up more.
But they could possibly have an assistant administrator, campus administrator as well. This person would do that themselves.
Yeah,
There's a difference.
Less administrators.
Their assistant campus administrator, even Troy at Central Campus has, because they run their adult programs all the way until 10:30 or 10:45 at nighttime. They have 3.
Okay, and then on the moving on to the next ones, Northeast Campus, do we have more enrollment that we need these programs, or?
I don't have the enrollment numbers for this group. Thanks.
Good evening, thank you for the question. We are just yesterday pulling our numbers for allocations. So we have 2 new programs at Northeast. We have our advanced manufacturing and our welding. Our welding, like always, has filled up. And so we have plenty of students to fill our welding program. Our advanced manufacturing, like any very new program, is taking its time and moving along, and we will then look at students who don't get into their first choice program through welding, through electrical, through some of those programs, and then talk to them about advanced manufacturing. But that's pretty normal with the trades programs as we bring them on in the first couple of years.
I just hate to see because there's been several opportunity programs. Every year they're an opportunity program. I would hate to start a program that starts off as opportunity program, it's an opportunity program somewhere else. The advanced manufacturing seems like it's an opportunity program over here. What makes us think it won't be over here?
I believe that, and Dr. Spurgeon can help with this, that it's the industry that's asking us to do this, and we are trying to fill that need of the industry. I believe that as more recruitment happens, it's kind of like energy, right? Like we had to teach kids energy and teach what was gonna happen with Palo Verde, and now that's a full program. When we started out with aviation, it was small, and now we have even, I think, 55 aviation students that are just sophomores, let alone the older kids, and only have 50 spots for that. So I believe in our process and what happens with that. Has there been some opportunities? Collisions, another one, very low all the time, huge. Air conditioning, oh my goodness. We used to have like 6 kids, and now we have 2 full sections on 2 different campuses. So I do believe that our students are coming, and depending on where we locate them, especially when we're gonna be out in the Tullison area for our next programs of advanced manufacturing, I believe that that will make a huge difference as well. Do I know the future? I don't know the
But
future.
I just wanna make sure, we talk about right programs, but that Northeast campus, I'm not sure advanced manufacturing is the right program. I mean, I know industry wants it there, but if we can't draw students, we're not helping the industry because it's a struggling program. And so that's what I haven't heard the answer yet of, hey, we know we're gonna fill it up. I heard it's gonna take time. And it's already taking time over here, so instead now we have 2 that's gonna take time, and I have a room that I could have used for a different program that I could have filled up.
How much time does it normally take for these programs when they launch to really get a flow? It's like 2-3 years?
Give a program a good 3 years
Yeah.
to get that footing going, if it's a program that's been high opportunity.
Because the companies there, they're doing their part to get
Yes, they
the pipeline started, and it takes a while to get that pipeline
advisory
started.
councils get going,
Right.
more people learn about those programs.
And the students
Our
that come-
counselors
Right.
learn more about them. We bring them out to, I'm trying to get Dr. Spurgeon to help me get kids or counselors out to the chip manufacturing program so that they can learn more about that. So it does take some time for certain programs, as that's what industry is asking.
But we had like years of 3 to 6 students in construction trades in the Northeast Phoenix, which is just. When I went and visited them, they're like, hey, what are you gonna do so we can have more kids in this program? Because we feel like we're almost by ourselves. So what is our minimum number that we won't start the class because the kids want a bigger group and they can't compete because there's not enough kids?
Well,
What
that
is
makes
that minimum number?
economic sense
I think
too.
there's a, what we're getting ready to go into, I believe, or are already into, is a confluence of industry and education that is gonna fill those programs, because you have industry coming to us saying, we need more of these people. We have this number of jobs in 2 years, we're gonna have 1,000 jobs that we need to fill. How long does it take you to generate a journeyman or an apprentice level in this particular skill set? And we say, okay, it takes us 2 years. Perfect, because that's when we're gonna have the jobs available. And I think that's where it's coming together. And
But if we have 3 the first year, 3 the second year, 4 the third year, 5 the fourth year. Why start the program now? Why not do the pre-work? That's what I'm looking for is, hey, if we don't get at least X number of kids, we're going to cancel the program and not hire the teacher.
I would question that, because I know that, so when you talk about something that's new to, the whole system isn't just, here's a poster, we're hiring for this class, please everybody sign up. That's not it. You got counselors, teachers, you have the CTEDs and the CTEs also doing their part, then you got the instructors doing their part. So it may take a little bit of time. But I know that advanced manufacturing is on the in-demand list for both the state and the county. So I do know that the prediction for that industry is huge. So the state recognizes as a whole that industry is an in-demand industry, which means it's gonna have an economic impact and hiring capability of the future. So to get students interested in that, because the community colleges are already geared up, universities are already geared up. City of Phoenix is getting ready to drop lots of money to their job creation area. That's gonna include semiconductor. This is just a response to get an even earlier alignment with those things, because that's what they're gonna see when they're an adult. And if they're in this region, that's what one of the largest employers that they're gonna be able to work for. So how many years have we had the semiconductor program?
This will be our first year.
First year, so
coming
so
up
we're not
in
even
August.
talking, now, if we're 4 years into it, I would agree. But we're talking the first year. I don't see any risk. at it.
Advanced manufacturing, how many years have we had advanced manufacturing?
Probably 9, 10.
And what's the average attendance by year?
Well, it
would you
has
say?
varied. Last year we were full, and this year we're still working towards that fullness. It's been a kind of an up and down. We've had issues with a teacher and then having to close the program or sunset it for a little while until we found a teacher and brought it back.
Last year it was full.
Last year.
And this year it's not full.
And just to
And they're still
clarify the
staffing it up.
program, so this is our first advanced manufacturing program. We have precision machining at our central campus, what I think Mr. Strickland might be referring to. We have struggled with it. It's kind of, the CNC was really struggled with getting students the more manual machining operation, getting students interested in that program, although we've gone through some ebbs and flows. We filled it up last year. That one's a little bit unique, but this advanced manufacturing, the semiconductor is really a completely different space that we're going into. That is gonna take that education and time and catching up with the industry demand. There's lots of outreach that we're doing currently and we'll continue to do, like advanced manufacturing camp we did for teachers this last summer. for our member district teachers, which those engineering teachers in their home districts and all of that, spreading that word to students. We've seen a lot of traction from that. So we have lots of efforts planned to make sure that we, even if it's a smaller number to start with, we're confident that that will grow in the future with advanced
And
manufacturing.
we're also gonna be having the clean rooms in both the northeast and the southeast campus.
That's correct.
You know, and I think TSMC is gonna have a big play in that and also West-MEC. You know, they're working on they're working on a pipeline and working with our schools and all kinds of stuff.
I would just like to see some kind of, hey, at 3 years, if we can't fill it up, there's some number at some point where you have to say, students aren't interested in this program. I know we've talked about medical billing, huge demand, students don't wanna do it. And so sometimes the students don't wanna do it. And
we have sunsetted programs.
Yeah.
Looking at
Those
that,
numbers all the
it's
time.
not.
so
something
I would just, I think it would help the board to know, hey, this is our criteria of how we evaluate, because the board is not seeing that. So that's why I'm raising the
Do
question.
we have a criteria written in policy or procedures that
It's not.
rises to a
anything-
threshold?
It's not anything in policy, but if I remember hearing, it's kind of like a 12 to 15 student is kind of a good threshold where you're at that point where you can meet the teacher's salary plus all the costs of running the program. Typically, if it gets lower than that, then folks like Jared, Marilyn, myself, Dr. Spurgeon, we start thinking about, do we need to possibly sunset the program, maybe move that teacher to another area if they have some other skill set that we can use? So we do monitor those numbers
But
all the
even
time.
this new plant that they just built out there, they expected to have it way fuller before it happened. I
The
mean,
TSMC.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the plant was out there and I think you have to just educate the public on it.
And that's
And
It's 2 or 3 years behind schedule too.
Well, but not having enough staffing for it too, so.
It's the whole construction, it's the whole,
The CHIPS Act money too that they stopped getting right now and they're waiting for it to figure out what the federal government's gonna do with their funding.
Mr. Carter, we are doing exactly what you just described. So we will be sunsetting a program and converting that space into another program for this year.
so we need to see that. I think it would be helpful for the board, because I know we went years, construction trades in Northeast Campus. It never had more than 10 students for probably 10 years. We should have never continued with that. And so my perception as a board member is I haven't seen them sunsetted.
Do we have, if we have it, so I think, and I agree with Mr. Straka, I think that we should probably at this point, because we are growing really large, really fast, have it written down somewhere that this is a criticality, this is a concern.
It's fine.
It's gonna trigger a process.
It's a break even.
It's a break even point. And how many years do you go?
Do away with it.
I agree, I think that keeps us out of the hot water of having dead programs keep going.
Yeah, if it's not
then we
economically
can do
viable,
something
it's not
else
so
then.
sustainable with the amount of students, then it should be sunset.
Waste the space.
Question, when you say industry, are you referring to the industry local to that campus or citywide, countywide,
Really statewide.
statewide? Okay.
Yeah, obviously with this example with advanced manufacturing, TSMC is obviously a big player in.
Yeah, it's right next door.
The whole country, but luckily they're right near, they're in
Yeah.
proximity to the campus, but certainly we're talking the industry of advanced manufacturing throughout the entire state. The students will have access to
Yeah.
many of those opportunities, whether it's semiconductor or any other type of advanced manufacturing, food and beverage. Any of those plants that are going up all throughout the West Valley. So as that industry, as we're catching up with the exposure to parents mostly and students of what these jobs are in advanced manufacturing, we're working really hard to do that. There's lots of state efforts to help everyone understand what these jobs really are.
Horror stories, the kids weren't interested because they had to put on this stupid outfit to go in there and be in it all day. They didn't want no.
James Bond.
Clean room, it's home.
Welding was really one of our high opportunity programs. I remember when Garrett was principal out there, we were still trying to get kids in August. And now, like, oh my goodness, I can't have enough welding labs for that. So I totally agree with you, Mr. Straker, we all do, but we have to, we're really looking at what industry wants, and we are making the best effort to give that to them, and then to really kind of hold on tight. And once kids get in it, kids tell kids. So like, that's another best selling, is when these kids are gonna come out of advanced manufacturing and go back to their schools and tell them what they're in. That's how welding grew, that's how collision grew, that's how auto grew, that's how power sports grew. And they really are, and it's our teacher too. Teachers make the difference in all of that. And whenever we hire this great teacher, that's gonna make that difference too. But I'm excited to see how it's going to grow and what that's going to look like.
Do we have a motion to approve staffing request?
So I would move that we approve it. But I also would ask that staff provide the board, what is the program criteria, like Mr. Garcia and I talked about, it's like, what is the criteria for sunsetting, because it's not very clear.
And I will share with you that the community college does that for us. They will tell us how many they have to have before they're gonna let us run a program. So there's really nothing wrong with us doing that. I appreciate that.
Perfect. So is that a motion?
And that's a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve staffing request as presented and present the board.
And then also inform the board of the program criteria for sunsetting.
The other thing I want to mention is ACA provided us some updated numbers at the technology summit probably about 4 weeks or so ago. And on the books right now, there's 321 advanced manufacturing projects in the pipeline right now. And the vast majority of them are coming to the West Valley with a cap index of over $70 billion.
Maybe the title is what the problem is. What's advanced manufacturing? I mean,
Well,
to
then-
me, I don't know.
You know,
There's
one of the
all
issues
kinds
we have to overcome right now is that we have a group of students who, many of their parents, if not the vast majority, have never stepped foot one day inside of advanced manufacturing lab. And the perception is that it still looks like the old mom and pop shops. But right now, these are white collar, new collar positions that could lead them to a tremendous career.
We need to change the title.
And so the good thing for us is that because we have so much growth going on, everybody's working the same direction.
Right.
Everybody's
Well,
working on
it's
working.
absolutely-
It's not just West-MEC, everyone.
Say robotics, it would be a lot
Well,
more enticing to
yes.
kids.
I have something else, but we can wait on it.
One thing that I would caution for I think we should look at when we're looking at sunset program. If we were full last year and can't fill it this year, I don't think that should be the trigger to shut it down.
It needs to be over a period of time.
For a period of time, but not a long period of time, but maybe 3 years might be then you start seeing a trend.
Yeah.
And then you look at other data analytics from other organizations within the state that say, yeah, that's a dead horse, so we need to get off that horse. And say, yes, let's cut that one off now.
Well, truly, the name, right? You need to change the name, advanced manufacturing. That don't sound exciting.
One of the things, Ms. Boostman, I know you'll appreciate is Marilyn and I had a conversation a couple of years ago because students that didn't quite meet the criteria and enrollment process when they submitted their application, it was just no, that's it. This year, we had 350 students that were put on a success plan at semester. These are the 2 or 3 things you have to do to be eligible to go to West-MEC. And so now we're gonna have a whole bank of students that will have completed those opportunities that would have never had an opportunity before, which gives us a chance at the end to fill some of our high need programs because they would have never gotten a chance had we not done the success program.
I like it.
I mean, the work of the counselors to get 350 students on success plans, to give them an opportunity to come to West-MEC is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
And you mentioned that there was a class that we're thinking about sunsetting. Which one was it?
Can't say yet,
Can't say,
because
okay.
it's, information still needs to be shared, things like that.
Okay.
But that does happen, and that will continue to happen with programs that just continually do not generate them.
We had a plumbing program we had to sunset. Because we could never get the instructors to show up sober.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
that's a great field. Yeah. Yeah.
Reason to
They got what
sunset.
microbrewing are
That's a huge problem in the plumbing industry. They cannot find plumbers that have not lost their license for DUI.
I wish we could offer the plumbing program and get kids interested.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lifetime career that's very lucrative.
He's well-
Very lucrative.
We just had a plumber in our office. Huge project.
Thanks.
All right.
Language.
Next one. Ms. Meggs again, yes, okay, approval of employee contract notice of appointment language.
Yes, Chairman Ramirez, you should have received the black line version of the contracts for the 2025-26 school year. Probably the biggest change that you're gonna see on the contracts, other than the 11-month instructors, is the addition of the performance pay language that's in the instructor contract, but it's not in the other contracts and work agreements. Other than that, there's not many substantive changes. I think there was one other change about if an employee is arrested or awaiting trial, that they have to immediately notify the superintendent. So other than that, there's not.
So I have some questions, Bob. We were talking about, getting fingerprint clearance. Do we do that? Do we check out of the country when we check our new employees?
The service that we use, they do, if they do have to go internationally, then they just charge us more money. So when we do the form for them to fill out that allows us to do the background check, we ask for the last addresses that they've lived at in the last 10 years. So based on where they've lived, if they've just lived in Arizona, we just get those back relatively quickly. But if they've lived out of state, or if they've lived in another country, it's gonna take them a little bit longer to work with those municipalities in order for us to get that data. So to answer your question, yes, we do.
Okay, so we get any recent arrests and all that kind of stuff too then?
Yes.
Okay. How about third-party vendors? Do we check?
Well, it's kind of a loaded question because we have to rely on the employer. Usually it's in their agreement or if it's an IGA or a contract, there's usually some language in there that talks about, are you providing us with employees that have no criminal backgrounds, or have you done your due diligence to background check them? Typically, we do background check volunteers, particularly if they are going to an overnight trip, for example. But for vendors, we usually don't. It's not, but it is something that we certainly could consider.
Okay, when we do, like any kind of transportation or anything like that, how do we know who we're hiring for our kids? It's questionable. There are, so many different people, the same
There's a
faces.
ride share. We don't even know who's gonna show up till they put in the off
Well,
order.
in the hop, skip, drive, how do you know?
Well, because we have to
We
count on the
didn't trust
vendor.
them.
Well, we do have to count on the vendor to do those background because they carry the liabilities. So say, for example, something did happen to a student. Would we be involved in the investigation? Absolutely. But they would actually have the liability if someone were to sue, or, they would have to deal with the discipline of the employee that did the infraction. But to answer your question, we do leave it, we assume that the vendor has done that background.
We just like to nip it in the bud before it happens. Instead of after.
Understood.
And are you a member of what they call NASTEC? NASDTEC. It's a National Education.
I'm sorry, I think that's outside the scope of this
Oh.
agenda item, but we can add it for it. That's one of the things I wanted to discuss with you. Yes. Yes, those are good questions. Okay, do I have a motion?
My
I'll motion to approve it. I just have one more question from Ms. Mays. I'll approve as presented. Our performance plan, we approved for employees. So technically, employees who are under ESI were not approved. Is that correct? They could not have the performance pay program?
My understanding is that ESI employees would be eligible.
So we said employees, but ESI employees are not employees of the district, so technically, I think we might need to go back and look at that agenda item, might need to amend it
I
then.
can certainly take a look at that. I don't have the plan in front of me,
Yeah.
Mr. Strecker, but I thought we did include the ESI.
Okay, just if you could clarify for that. And I did approve as presented.
Is there a second? Mr. Molina seconded. Then our last item for discussion is approval of the governing board meeting schedule. We'll have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve it. This was, I think, the first time that we've actually had the same time of the month for an entire year. I
Wednesday of every
I know,
Yeah.
I was impressed. I'm like, holy cow, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I would just open up, I'm fine with 4:30, but I know some people, it may be a challenge, so I would open up if the board wants to stay at 4:30 or move to 5 o'clock. And I'm specifically looking at Mr. Garcia.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I. Thank
Did I hear a second? 1 second?
I'll second.
Oh,
Okay. Garcia, Mr. Garcia, I'll take it.
Yes.
Carries.
And last item is, but request for future agenda items. I'd just like to remind the board though, however, before we enter into this one, we can't enter into a discussion or offer too many opinions on. Just voice the topic or the issue that you want to be brought up for future discussion, and then that would be considered for future agenda items.
So I have, like to get future discussion on, we normally put together a calendar of events for the year that we can participate in. Particularly our national trips. So
You're talking about your conferences.
conferences and everything else, everybody knows what conferences are available to the whole board. And also, it wouldn't be a bad idea to, in addition to that, add where we're at with our funding for each person and how much we're expending for the year.
For each board member?
Yeah,
Or-
so she has an account that shows
Oh.
everybody's, what they're spending to make sure, because we have a budget for
Yeah.
each person.
Okay,
Of where we're at with our budget, so we can tell whether or not we can participate in that event.
okay. Yeah, each of the board members, correct, okay. Project search. A presentation for on project search, or what is it about project search? Oh, an update on project search, okay.
Hey, I'd like to, there's an elephant in the room that I think we need to address. We heard Jared talk about all the jobs in the West Valley, and Mr. Merlina and Ms. Bosom, you talked about transportation challenges. We need to talk about the future of Paradise Valley. Paradise Valley's western boundary is 7th Street, and we keep talking about everything we're doing for the West Valley. We've spent 0 bond dollars for Paradise Valley. Transportation's an issue. Are we gonna commit to Paradise Valley, or should we ask them to vote to leave the district? Because really, I think they don't participate in a lot of our central programs.
So maybe a study on the demand for programs and.
Not that it's really, we need to decide when we talk about West-MEC and the West Valley, Paradise Valley isn't the West Valley. We need to, are we as a district gonna change our acumen and include Paradise Valley in our discussion? How do we reach out to the Paradise Valley? I know we go through a lot of chambers. I bet we've never gone to the Northeast Valley, Phoenix Chamber of Commerce where Paradise Valley School District sits. We haven't spent any bond money there. I think before we do as we think about our next bond, are we gonna spend money in Paradise Valley? Are we gonna say, send Dr. Spurgeon to talk to them and say, look, you need to have a vote to leave because you don't participate, we're not gonna participate with you. It's time to end this relationship. Or if we're not going, if we're going to participate, how are we gonna invest in Paradise Valley? And I think, what is the plan?
What is the plan for Paradise Valley involvement?
So that's really, I think, the elephant in the room we need to address.
Think about that.
Okay.
That's.
I know they have Crest.
Yeah, and I would just say, if you've ever been on the 101 in Cactus, that is the southeast corner of Paradise Valley School District. Can you imagine from there coming all the way to the southwest campus? How are, you know, you talk about transportation issues.
We'll be in Peoria.
Yeah, that comes.
Yeah, so again, you know,
101. But in a minute.
and we can't discuss it, but I think that's really something the board needs to
Okay.
hear from administration and kind
focus.
of make a strategy decision.
Motion to adjourn?
Just get up and leave.
Yeah, you gotta believe.
Smells like they have a little clue there.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Very good.
No, March.
I am gonna need you're gonna send me a point of contact. There in April, I need to move this forward, and I do wanna visit that school and look at what they got.
That's a good tool.
I want to facilitate discussion.
Yeah.
Right there, it's talking to Dave Swan, right there.
You can see your work.
Okay.
See if I want to, yeah, I wanna see it.
Yeah, I can go check it out, and maybe bring back some pictures or something.
Discussion because you don't have a motion.
That's correct. We have nothing.
They were gonna get general. You would ask question.